This is the Northwest Tank Line Super Bowl show coming to you from Radio Row, Mandalay Bay in Las Vegas, site of Super Bowl 58 between the Kansas City Chiefs and the San Francisco 49ers. Of course, all of our shows presented by the good folks at Northwest Tank Lines. This is our 23rd year here, and I think for 21 of them, we've had this next gentleman on our show, JT the Brick in the house, leader of Raider Nation, leader of the people of Las Vegas, and I'm sure he's going to set me straight about my anti-Vegas attitude that started on Sunday night.
Yeah, let's get this out of the way. First of all, that's on you because we've been friends a long time, and you shouldn't have went to any overpriced casino restaurant without an unlimited budget, and you should have ran your choices by me, and I wouldn't have let you make that mistake because where you actually went was kind of one of the worst mistakes I've heard. That's more than amateurist, not only price, service, and all that. So we have great. One of the things about I love living in Vegas, way before it became the sports town it is, was always the entertainment, but the restaurants are incredible up and down the Strip and the local ones. So, Moj, next time, give me a heads up.
For sure. I'm going to be coming back in the spring. You know, It's going to be a vacation in the spring, and I'll definitely hit you up on where to go.
How about my breaking news? Coming to Vancouver for the Stones.
Yes.
First time ever. All the invites you've given me, I apologize. To Vancouver. My wife and I are coming for the Rolling Stones. We met at a Stones concert. Almost coming up, the anniversary of us meeting is right around the corner. And 25-plus years later, every year they're on tour. They're not on tour every year because of their age. When they come on tour, we go to an international city. We saw them in Liverpool. And now we're going to Vancouver. First time, and I'm counting on you guys to show me the way.
We will show you the way in Vancouver. I've got 2 days already kind of booked aside where I'm going to be your personal tour guide.
Perfect.
And show you around.
Perfect.
Hey, we've got a lot to get into. Of course, the Raiders, the team that you follow closely. I just had a walk and talk with Antonio Pierce, the new head coach. Well, interim now, of course, the head coach of the Raiders full-time, I guess, the permanent coach. And probably about 4 or 5 questions as we walked from one venue. He was walking from one venue to another. In my first opportunity to talk to him, JT, no-nonsense type of guy.
No.
Right? He's to the point, and this is the way it's going to be.
Yeah, he's straight out of Compton. He's from Compton, California. Grew up a Raider fan, and he auditioned for the job, Moj, as interim coach. After he came out of the interim status, this is the first time. I'm the only guy that interviews him in town every week on the coach's show. And every time, funny little nugget, I introduced him, I would call him coach because it was a way to not say interim. I didn't want to disrespect him and say interim because the team wanted me to say interim because that's the title. And I just say we welcome in Coach Antonio Pierce. And this is the first time I interviewed him today where I could call him the head coach and really give him a pat on the back. He won the audition. This is another example of auditioning. And the way he won it is he got everybody to buy in, all the players to buy into his history as a Raider fan, to give a little bit more after Josh McDaniels got fired, where the team could have went in the tank, and probably got a really good draft pick, like a top 5 draft pick, and they played their ass off right after that, winning 5 games for him and some really big ones, including at Kansas City.
Do you know, it's interesting you talk about that because as soon as you said that, I thought about what happened. And, you know, we're talking about different sports, but there's a lot of parallels here. Vancouver last year, Rick Tocchet comes in, and people are saying this team should tank. They should try to get Connor Bedard, the phenom out of North Vancouver. Tank. Rick Tocchet comes in, and there's a couple things that happen. Number one, he kind of finds out who he can go to war with and who he can't. And I think the other thing, too, is Rick Tocchet had his opportunity to evaluate and at the same time start to implement the system that he wants played and the belief, the culture that he wants. And the big thing that you hear from these guys is earning the day. That's their motto.
Yeah.
And that is the fact that each day you come to work, you don't think about yesterday, you don't think about tomorrow. Earn the day. Do what you got to do today. And that's how that culture shifted. And it's something that I kind of threw out there with Antonio Pierce, and he wholeheartedly agreed.
Look, it's important. Covering sports as long as I've never seen teams tank. I've never seen professional athletes. I've seen fan bases do it, but I've never seen professional athletes go into a game, one game or a stretch of games, wanting to lose on purpose. They're all playing for pride, their futures. They're putting their talent on film if they go to another job. So for the Raiders, he was the perfect guy at the right time. Remember, he was the linebacker coach. We had a defensive coordinator who could have got the job, a guy named Patrick Graham, who interviewed for the Seahawk gig. And Patrick Graham was very humble, because a guy underneath him as the linebacker coach got the interim job over him and now become the head coach. And now the Raider defense is really strong. Question is, they should make the announcement, and the announcement's coming up on Luke Getsy, who's going to be he was the Bears' offensive coordinator. He's not the first choice. The Raiders wanted Cliff Kingsbury. The contract didn't come together. So the Raiders got to decide what they're going to do going forward with the likes of, some of the players of, Devontae Adams. Devontae Adams is a big-time player overall. You look at some of these guys, how are they going to fit in with the new offensive coordinator? But with the defense overall, the defense is in a really good spot, and Antonio Pierce is de facto leader of the organization and the team.
The one thing that tells me about the level of respect that Antonio Pierce has is that the Raiders are comfortable with him moving forward. And I say that, JT, as you know as well as I do, one of the toughest transitions you can make as a coach is being an assistant on a team or a coordinator and then becoming the head coach. Because you have a certain relationship with players when you're a position coach or a coordinator. That totally changes in terms of you're the guy now that makes those difficult decisions. But you know what they always say, be true to yourself, right? And be who you are. And I think you're going to get that with Antonio Pierce.
I hope we do, Moj, because this is my 25th year with the team, and other than the first 4 or 5 years, I haven't won. So as with you, with the Lions, and with the Canucks and all the other teams you follow, when you're with the team as long and you're embedded with the team and you want to win and you don't win and you come close, and first 4 years I had with the Raiders starting in 98, we went to 2 AFC championship games and a Super Bowl. I thought that was going to be every year. And now they moved from Oakland to Vegas, and Vegas they made the playoffs 1 year with Rich Bisaccia. Last year they lost out by 1 game because they made the push late in the season. I'm telling you, I invested a lot of time and passion with this organization. I want them to win. And I think they're on the right path now. They got a coach who knows he's not going to keep his job if he doesn't win. So I think he's going to push the players harder. The players are all in his camp. Now they got to figure out what they're going to do at quarterback. And the problem with all the winning that the Raiders did with Antonio Pierce is their draft status dropped from 7 to 9 to 12, now 13. So with the upcoming draft here, you can't get Caleb Williams, Drake May, Jaden Daniels, unless you're in a situation where you're trading up. And in order to trade up, these are guys that, at least I believe, Caleb Williams is going to require 3 first-round picks. And to move up to get the other 2 guys, it's going to be 2 first-round picks. We've got a new GM and a new head coach. They might not want to do that. Not that they're going to stay with Aiden O'Connell, but they might want to wait for Bo Nix, who you know from Oregon, or Michael Penix from Washington. I think both of those quarterbacks should be available at 13, and maybe one of those 2 guys could lead the Raiders to greatness.
The legendary JT the Brick is our guest. You can hear him on Raider Radio Network and, of course, Sirius Mad Dog Unleashed. Let's talk about this game, because I look at this. If you're a Raider fan, it's a no-win situation. It's either the Chiefs winning the Super Bowl or the 49ers winning the Super Bowl. I just look at this game, JT, and I just keep going back to Patrick Mahomes, right? Yeah. I mean, I made the mistake of picking Baltimore over San Fran, and I look back at it now, and I'm like, why? Why did I bet against Patrick Mahomes? I don't think I'm going to make the same mistake this time around.
You're getting points with Mahomes. As of now, I just talked recently to Jeff Sherman, who runs the Westgate. He's the VP of Risk Management, and he's the only sports book, and that's the biggest one. The Westgate is the biggest. Circa looks the biggest, but the Westgate is the one where the sharp lines are made. And all those sports books are good in town, but he's the only guy that has it at 2.5. Everyone else has it at 2. That could change on game day. I asked him why. He says, well, they have liability. You know how a casino works. You got to frame up both sides evenly.
Yeah.
And they have some big, sharp money that have come in early in the week on the 49ers. And now they have to adjust the line and go to 2.5. And if more sharp money comes in on the Niners, it'll go to 3. But I think the game's going to go off anywhere from 2 to 2.5. The Niners, I think, are the better team. But I don't gamble, but if I did, how do you not sprinkle some money on Patrick Mahomes? How do you not sprinkle $100? Say you bet 1,000 a game. How do you not bet 100 on Mahomes on the money line to just win the game outright, because he's going up against Brock Purdy? So the Niner fans move the needle. I think they have more money. It's Silicon Valley. There's going to be more bets. There's going to be more of the public on the 49ers. I think the Niners win and cover the spread. I'm on the Niners this time. Yeah, I think the Niners have the better team. They have more Pro Bowlers. I think Kyle Shanahan remembers what happened in the last loss. They're going to play more aggressive. I like Kittle. I like McCaffrey, Debo Samuels, Brandon Ayuk, Purdy. I didn't like Purdy for most of his run. Now, what choice do we have other than to like Purdy? Every time I turn on a Purdy game, he's winning, and he's making some good throws. But the Niners haven't played well in the playoffs. They should have got beat by Green Bay. They were trounced by Detroit. How great would it have been if Detroit was here? Okay, down 24-7. Kansas City's played well, man. They beat Lamar Jackson. They beat the Buffalo Bills.
Yeah.
They beat the Miami Dolphins. I think they look really good. But I'll go Niners 27-24 and hopefully a classic Super Bowl.
All right, last one. If Mahomes does win this game, is he in the Mount Rushmore now with the likes of
great
Brady,
question.
Montana?
I think so. Yeah. I think so because as we both are friends with Joe over the years, and I'm never going to remove Joe from a Mount Rushmore because what Joe did in his time period, no one could take away. If Joe was playing now, Joe would be in an easier league, easier rules, and with his body, and we know Joe could throw a few back and have fun, Joe would have been conditioned to play to 40.
Yeah.
He would have been conditioned to play to 42.
It's a different animal.
It's a different animal. So I think that you cannot touch Joe and Brady from Mount Rushmore. And if I look at adding Mahomes in, that's pretty good. And he's got a lot of work. It's like adding Steph Curry in to the Mount Rushmore when you know he's got 6 years left. You can add him in because he's Steph Curry now and he's still playing. But if the final Mount Rushmore is this, the final one, it's Tom Brady, Joe Montana, Patrick Mahomes, and who? Because there's only 4 of our U.S. presidents on Mount Rushmore. A lot of people say 5. No, Donald Trump did not put himself in Barack Obama. Barack Obama did not put themselves on Mount Rushmore. The 4th Mount Rushmore for me would be John Elway with his talent. Marino never won a Super Bowl. I can't put him there. And then the last 4 I think we keep open for generations to come. But for us here in the States, to have Mahomes, Brady, and Joe, I'm pretty cool with that.
JT, great stuff. You're coming to Vancouver, seafood or steak? Priority?
100%. I live off of steak here.
Okay.
We're doing seafood. Here's the 2 requests I have for your great audience. I want to drink great local beer and great local regional wine. Okay, I'm not a snob, but I like the California Cabernet.
Have you ever tried ice wine?
No.
Okay.
No. Okay.
We've got a little ice wine for you. And by the way, Way Back Brewing, one of our sponsors, great brand new pub, like brew pub. That's big in Vancouver, all the craft beers and stuff.
And I want to be on the water at some point. It doesn't have to be, it could be touristy. If the coolest thing is touristy on the water, there I want to see that too. And let me know what's going to happen.
JT, great stuff. Guys. Look forward to seeing you in Vancouver come July. And you're going to see us in Vegas in April.
Can't wait. And I can't wait for us next time to talk about how dare you not talk about my Stanley Cup champs? How many times have I come on your show and now I'm a Stanley Cup champ?
We're working on getting George McPhee here Friday.
Thanks, guys.
Yes, we'll get him. Thank you, bud.